He says, this isn't a self-improvement video. This is how to maximize your dating life. The only way for a man to become successful is to get a girlfriend attitude is backwards. So he's saying you should become successful first and then you should get a girlfriend. Now, I understand where he's coming from. I used to be just like him, right? And before we even go to his second comment, I ended up replying to him. I'm going to go ahead and just say, hey, if you drive through California or through Arizona and you're going to see a lot of homeless people, you're going to see quite a few homeless individuals who are coupled up, right? There are homeless men who are not very successful and they have sex. They have a girlfriend. They have a source of intimacy. So the idea that you need to become successful before you get a girlfriend, we just disproved that right there. There are plenty of, stereotypically unsuccessful people who are having no issue securing love and intimacy and touch and sex inside of their life. Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Malcolm Tibbs. I'm 26 years old and I was able to retire myself 2 years ago at the age of 24 using some of my veteran benefits. Now, I've been doing self-improvement for about 8 years now. And in that time, I made a ton of mistakes. So I like to make these videos to help speed up the process for other young men who would like to get into a position similar to my own so that you guys can get here without making the same mistakes that I did. With that being said, I recently made a video in which I suggested that the best way for a young man to improve is to get a girlfriend. And in fact, getting a girlfriend is probably going to involve you improving in so many different areas that by the time you actually pull it off, you're going to be miles above where you were before, okay? This is assuming that you don't have a girlfriend and you're struggling to get one. Now, I received a lot of comments on that video, mostly from like black-pilled individuals who claim that getting a girlfriend isn't all that, or getting a girlfriend is way too hard, or even just that the women in America aren't worth pursuing and that it's better to get a passport and to go like to Thailand and get a girlfriend over there where, your little $500, weekly paycheck that you get is like a gold mine to her. So I'm going to take some time to respond to one of these comments in particular and kind of go a little bit more in depth on that idea that getting a girlfriend is one of the best catalysts for a young man to improve in his life. And I still believe that, okay? It's by far been true for me and for other individuals that I've deserved. So let's go ahead and just read this comment. This is coming from a man named Kevin. He says, this isn't a self-improvement video. This is how to maximize your dating life. The only way for a man to become successful is to get a girlfriend attitude is backwards. So he's saying you should become successful first and then you should get a girlfriend. Now, I understand where he's coming from. I used to be just like him, right? And before we even go to his second comment, I ended up replying to him. I'm going to go ahead and just say, hey, if you drive through California or through Arizona and you're going to see a lot of homeless people, you're going to see quite a few homeless individuals who are coupled up, right? There are homeless men who are not very successful and they have sex. They have a girlfriend. They have a source of intimacy. So the idea that you need to become successful before you get a girlfriend, we just disproved that right there. There are plenty of, stereotypically unsuccessful people who are having no issue securing love and intimacy and touch and sex inside of their life. Okay. So moving forward, I go ahead and say, hey man, I didn't say it's the only way to improve. I said it's the best catalyst for improvement. Okay. Catalyst meaning something that speeds up a reaction. If we're going to get into the chemical definition of it, right? You add a catalyst to a chemical reaction to speed up how fast the reaction is happening. So if you want to speed up your improvement, getting a girlfriend, the challenge of getting a girlfriend and then maintaining a girlfriend, it's going to involve you becoming a much better man, and it's going to happen very fast. Okay. I said, hey, if you know a better catalyst, I'm all ears. I'm just here to learn. I want to get better. You might know more than me. He, unfortunately, he just kind of whines and complains. So I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. He says, I clicked on this video because the title implied this would be about how a young man can improve social skills, plan for a successful future, and other things that constitute self-improvement. I talked a whole lot about improving social skills inside that video. And just getting data, doing a lot of reps, running the experiments to see what works and what doesn't. I see dating as probably the best way to improve your social skills, right? If you don't know how to notice that somebody's attracted in you, if you don't know how to give them an offer that sounds enticing, if you don't know how to escalate an interaction so that you guys form closer relationships, you're probably not very smart at social skills. And the best way to improve your social skills is to just get more reps. Get more reps escalating in relationships, get more reps giving enticing offers, right? I digress, right? Let's continue with the comment. He says, the entire thing is just you saying that the best thing for a young man is to find a girlfriend, like it's the only thing any of us should be focusing on. I think I spent maybe the first 60 seconds of the video. I compared it to an analogy. If you go to the vet and you get a dog, the vet's going to tell you, hey, that dog is going to need X, Y, and Z to be happy, right? Give it some sunshine, play with it twice a day, give it some food, take it out to the dog park. You're going to have a happy dog. The analogy I use is, hey, if we went to the vet and we adopted a young human male, right? The vet's absolutely going to say, if you want this man to be happy and successful, give him a significant other, adopt another human for him that he can have love and sex and intimate time with. It's going to make for a much happier human, right? And then on top of that, it's going to fix a lot of your problems like addiction, watching too much porn, smoking too much weed, excessive compulsive disorders. Having a very strong intimate relationship will address a lot of those things. But let's go back to the comment. The entire thing is just you saying that the best thing for a young man is to find a girlfriend, like it's the only thing any of us should be focusing on. So just the first minute I did that, and then the rest of the video was like, here's how you improve your social skills so that you can actually get the girlfriend. Then you talk about the strategies for maximizing hinge matches and psychological tricks to make women like you more. Okay, so he kind of defeats himself right there. He says the only thing you talk about is the entire thing is just you saying the best thing for a young man is getting women. And then he also says, psych, it wasn't the entire video. You actually gave us a bunch of advice. Okay. And then he goes on to better catalyst for improvement. Learn a skill, whether it be through going to college or self-teaching, right? I agree with that. That's a pretty good way to improve yourself. I don't think it's the best way, but sure, learn a skill. Save as much money as you can while you're young. He also says build relationships with people. It's literally what my video was about. Form friendships and network in your field. If you don't have good social skills, if you can't date, you're probably not going to be very good at forming relationships and networking, just because your social skills aren't very well. They're not very good. And then he says telling people to attribute their success and happiness to their girlfriend is bad advice. And that right there, I think that's the most important part of his comment. He pretty much just said with that last sentence, I feel as if you told me I'm unsuccessful because I don't have a girlfriend. And that's not what my video was saying at all. But hey, ding, ding, ding. I think you're right. And I think you're right. Okay. If you have, my alarm's going off. If you have all these social skills and you are so good at navigating situations with other people and networking and making money, right? Why don't you have a girlfriend? Why are you spending the time commenting on videos with like less than 100 views, right? So let's go ahead and just take a moment. Let's decompress, catch our breath. Okay. So Kevin, listen, man, you sound like you have your head on straight. You sound like you know what you want from life, to be more successful, to get those things that people would, commonly attribute to success. And you and I both know that one of those things is going to be an attractive woman, right? If you have a man with a job and a fast car and a lot of money and a lot of skills and a big network, and then you also have a man with all of those things plus a woman, which one has more influence over you? Which one is more desirable? Which one would you want to take directions from? And which one would you like to be like? I think that's hopefully you're not going to just, be combative and say the thing that is obviously not true just so that you're going against me, right? I'm only here to help you, right? Because I used to be in the same situation as you, man. Listen, if you are anything like Kevin, or if you're consuming all this black pill propaganda that's telling you that 1 in 5 women, or like 20% of women, or all of women are chasing after 1 in 5 men. Like the top 20% of men are, you're consuming propaganda that's telling you that you need to get a passport because all American women are chopped and they're cooked and they're, they're whores. Listen, man, the issue is that you are consuming that information. That's not the world that I live in. That's not the world that my neighbor lives in. That's not the world that most people live in. That is the world that people live in when they are not doing well in their intimate relationships. And they consume that information and they cling to those studies because it makes them feel good. And anybody who suggests the opposite deserves an entire essay inside their comment section, right? You have what it takes to get a girl. You right there behind the camera, not just Kevin, but everybody who relates to Kevin, you have what it takes to get a girlfriend, right? Because all that you need, right, mind you, there are homeless people in Phoenix, in Arizona, California, Los Angeles, all over the world who have women. So getting more skills, getting more money, getting a faster car, getting a better job, expanding your network, none of those things actually directly contribute or actually directly tie into your ability to land a girl. And the only reason why you don't have a girl is one reason: you're afraid of rejection. It's that. That's it. The homeless man has a girlfriend because he went through the 300 or 400 reps of going up to girls and getting rejected. And eventually he figured out a little strategy that works for him, that works for somebody who's his height, who has his amount of hair, who makes his amount of money. He figured out a strategy, a way to convey himself that makes women attracted to him. He developed a skill. He put in 400, 500, who knows how many reps, and now he has a girlfriend. He has a significant other. He has somebody who can hold him accountable. He has somebody who he can try to win the approval over, or somebody who he just doesn't want to let down. He doesn't have anything more than you do. In fact, you probably have a shit ton more than him. The only difference is that he got over his fear of rejection. And guess what? If you want to get over your fear of rejection, it's really simple. You expose yourself to rejection. So this is my task for you. Because I've been in this situation before. I was the person who felt like all women were chasing after alpha males and I couldn't get a girl because I was black, and I was instantly getting unmatched on because, my skin color was too dark and I needed to go get more money, and all of that wasn't true. The only thing that I needed to do, and the only thing that actually made a difference, was that I went outside and I put myself into situations where I could get rejected. And I also did quite a lot of matching and texting on Hinge, right? And I got ghosted about 200 something times. I don't even have the app installed anymore because I have a girlfriend. I don't need Hinge, but I could download it and show you, right? You just need more reps. You need more exposure to rejection, and then you become desensitized to it. It stops being important. And you finally put yourself in the position to figure out what you need to do and how you need to convey yourself to get a girlfriend. And then once you get the girlfriend, you're going to realize they're not that important. But I can finally let go of this big thing that I've been holding on to, and I can finally get started on that big endeavor that I've been meaning to start on. I've already slain this dragon, the dragon that every man has to slay eventually. Right? Every man is going to have to settle down and get a woman and have kids. You finally did it. Now you can get really serious about career, and you can stop spending however many hours or minutes every day watching videos about dating. And you can stop giving a fuck, right? The vast majority of people are not consuming dating content. It's not a normal thing. It seems normal because everybody inside of your circle that you interact with online and the content creators you interact with online, that's all they talk about. But most people, they're watching sports and they're playing video games. They're hanging out with their families and having barbecues, and they're getting excited to gear up and buy that new house, and that's they have a mission that they're on. Kevin and anybody else who relates to Kevin, you are already good enough. You don't need to do anything more. You don't need to get a passport. You don't need to get a permanent visa in another country. You don't need a better paying job. Again, we're going to go back to the homeless person example. What does that homeless person have that you don't? The only thing that you're missing is experience with girls. And you can manufacture that yourself. You can close the laptop, put the phone down, and go outside and walk up to a girl and say, give me your phone number. I'm going to take you out for coffee. And what you're going to find is she's probably going to be really down because you've been bold. When you make it your goal to get rejected, not to get a girlfriend, not to have sex, right? Not to, whatever, just to get rejected, it's really hard. It's really hard to get rejected because you're going to have to be very bold. You're going to have to cut through all the bullshit. You're not going to spend time in the friend zone or trying to get closer to her. And you're not going to listen to her talk about her boyfriend or the douchebag that she's fucking, right? You're going to get straight to the point and she's going to be like, oh my gosh, finally, a real man. I thought you guys went extinct. I've been waiting for you. Walk up to a girl and gently grab her hand and say, hey, what's your name? You look beautiful. Be bold, right? Grab her hand. Be bold. Don't cross any lines. And what you're going to find is, yes, 9 times out of 10, the girl's going to be really down. Oh my gosh, you just walked up and grabbed my hand. You look so confident. You smell good. And you're escalating properly. And then 1 time out of 10, you're going to get a girl that says, who the hell do you think you are? Don't put your hands on me. And guess what? It's not going to matter to you. It's not going to be scary. It's not going to be the end of the world because you have hundreds of reps that are going to prove to you that one girl, she doesn't know what she's missing out on. I have so much evidence to support that I'm a good deal. I'm a great product. I'm the prize. And she just doesn't know it. Or she's just not a worthy candidate for this prize. You got to stop letting women be the judge of you. And I can almost guarantee that is the problem because you're afraid of them rejecting you. It's like you're afraid of your boss firing you. Now that situation's different because your boss controls your livelihood. You do kind of have to bend over and spread your cheeks if your boss says so, right? You do got to brown nose a little bit. You do have to avoid rejection inside the workplace when it comes to your boss and HR. That's not true with women. You are the judge of yourself, and nobody else gets to determine what's okay and what's appropriate and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And oftentimes, right, if you, worst comes to worse, it's not going to be death. It's just going to be the property owner is going to politely ask you to leave. And if you don't, you're going to be escorted off the premises and probably banned from going there. That's the worst. And guess what? Nearly every single man that you see out in public, they seem to have been able to get over this big hurdle of rejection and finding a girl, and they're not banned from going anywhere because that doesn't actually happen unless you really mess up, and that's okay. If you really mess up, it just means you really need more reps. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up. I'm about 17, maybe 18 minutes into the video now. So if you're still listening, everything I'm saying is resonating with you. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. Please leave a comment, right? I appreciate your feedback. I'm a small YouTuber, so any feedback is very valuable to me. I want to grow the channel. I want to find more people and help them out. But that's all I have for you guys, okay? Don't be like Kevin. And Kevin, if you're still listening, you got this, man. You're a pretty smart dude. You're intelligent. You can do it. You just have to get over a fear. You have to stop being a bitch. That's it. That's all I have for you guys. See you in the next one. Peace out.